Hello, welcome to another episode of Teeing Off Podcast. I'm RJ McCullough. Got a bunch to get to this week, so I'll just jump right into it. First, I want to tell everyone I started an Instagram account for Teeing Off Blog, so if you have Instagram, go follow Teeing Off Blog on Instagram. Just a quick little plug there. What else do I got in my personal life? I'm going to Florida next week. That'll be fun. I'm leaving on Monday morning, going there for about a week just to... My mom and her husband got a place recently in Naples, so I'm looking forward to going down there and checking that out, hopefully getting in a few rounds of golf. Hopefully the weather's good. That'll be fun. So I don't know what my content output will be like next week, but that is where I'll be next week. And then in mid-April, every year I go to Hilton Head to cover the RBC Heritage. So put in my credential request for that today, and assuming that everything is good and that gets approved, I will be back there for yet another year, which is always fun. I mentioned last episode that I was doing an audition for a new sports show we have here called This Week in 30. For those who did not hear that episode, it's basically like a TMZ style show where they film everyone in the newsroom discussing like the stories of the week, what should make our shows, what shouldn't, little debates, banter, back and forth, stuff like that. So we had a couple of run-throughs that I participated in that went really well, and then we had sort of like a casting call for auditions. So I threw my name in the ring, and we had the auditions. There was 2 auditions. It wasn't really so much as an audition, if I'm being honest, because it wasn't like people going in and doing, promoting themselves or pitching themselves or doing any sort of speech. It was just like a mock version of the show again, and they brought in a bunch of people that are actually on air. So people that do Sportsnet Central, Sportsnet, like radio, whatever it may be, and they sort of tend to naturally hog the conversation. So, I mean, I did okay. I made a few points, got a few things in there, but it was a little hard to get a word in when there's like 7 or 8 on-air people that are obviously very comfortable speaking and speak very confidently and loudly. And everyone doesn't really want to disagree with them because they sort of have a bit of clout in the newsroom. So not the most ideal of audition situations, but all in all, it's going to be a fun show. And I think they said they have like 50 people that they have for the show. And I imagine when they film, they'll only do between 10 and 20 people. So it's going to be a bit of a backlog of people, but I'll get in there at some point. I'll be on the show at some point, and I'll make sure to keep everyone posted on that. But that is that. I had I won't go into too much detail, but I had an interesting situation come up on the weekend. So I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this Barstool podcast called Call Her Daddy, but it's pretty explicit. These girls that are, they're pretty comfortable with their sexuality. Let's just say that. But anyways, I was at the bar in Guelph on the weekend with my best friend Greg. He lives there. And we were just at the bar, shooting the shit, having a few drinks. And this girl was there's 2 girls standing. One of them turns to us and says, "Do you guys eat ass?" She literally just starts the conversation with that. I've never seen this person in my life before. That's a little bit of a personal question. I don't even remember exactly what I said, but very strange introduction. One of the stranger introductions to a conversation that I've ever encountered. Followed up with something to do with, "Oh, do you listen to this Call Her Daddy podcast from Barstool?" I'm a big Barstool guy, as I mentioned before. Very strange way to start a conversation, though, regardless of if one does that or not. To each their own. Just strange way to start a conversation. Just gonna leave that there. Some other weird conversations that were had over the course of Friday and the weekend in a lot of pretty much everywhere across North America. This story was massive. It was the Robert Kraft story essentially going to rub and tug and it getting busted. The real story is allegedly the female workers that were working there were there against their will, and essentially it's some sort of sex slave ring type deal. I'm not at any liberty to be speaking on that, so I don't have anything that you guys haven't heard, so I'm not going to go too much in on that story. Obviously, that aspect of it is awful. The Robert Kraft thing, not really any reason for them to release his name other than it does raise the profile of the story. So I understand that. But the golf tie-ins. There's a few golf tie-ins to this story, actually. One is Adam Schefter, the NFL reporter, pretty much immediately tweeted out right when this Robert Kraft story broke that that Robert Kraft isn't the biggest name in the story. So, of course, people started looking, okay, where was this place? It's in Jupiter, Florida. Who else lives in Jupiter, Florida? And there's Michael Jordan, Kid Rock, a bunch of big, famous celebrities, athletes, billionaires, whatever. But the one name that everyone kept coming back to, Tiger Woods. Now, Tiger obviously was in Mexico, but that doesn't mean that, because allegedly this thing has been going on for about 8 months. So we were I was crossing my fingers that it wouldn't happen. But in the back of my mind, there was definitely a part of me thinking, this isn't good. Tiger's name's probably going to be coming out at some point over the weekend. But as it's Monday now at about 5:30, there's been a few more names released, and I'll get into one of them in a second, but nothing of any sort of consequence to Tiger or really anyone that we know of. And a couple of people have sort of said to the Adam Schefter tweet, like, I don't know what he was talking about. So I don't want to get too worked up and too confident about this, but as of now, we can say that Tiger Woods' name is not on that list, and that makes me happy. If it was on the list, it would be disappointing, but that being said, sexual stuff and Tiger kind of go hand in hand, but that's not the discussion we want around Tiger right now. A name that did come out in the second wave of names released, I'd never heard of him, but he's Jessica Korda, the LPGA, I guess you could say star. Her sister, Nelly, just won last weekend. They both won on the LPGA Tour. But her boyfriend, a longtime boyfriend, and apparently used to play on the Web.com Tour. He is caddied for Jessica on the LPGA. His name was released in the second wave of names. So kind of going to be a iffy situation around the Korda household, but that's to each their own. It did get me thinking, though. It did get me thinking. If there were to be a PGA Tour player named, because, it is Jupiter, Florida, lots of PGA Tour golfers frequent the area. If a PGA Tour player were to be named, who wouldn't be surprising? I'm not going to say who would it be because I'm not going to slander someone, but who wouldn't be surprising? Okay, so let's go off a few names. Patrick Reed. I don't see him as not being the type of guy, but if he were caught doing this, his wife would literally murder him. She is, I don't just throw this out there, she's crazy. If you need any further proof, look it up. Same with Lucas Glover. Just going to put that out there. Those guys aren't risking it, okay? So it wouldn't be those guys. Phil Mickelson, you can just picture Phil sitting on the massage table, little towel around. He gives a little wink and a little thumbs up. But again, I don't think necessarily Phil would do this, or if Phil were to, I don't think he would do it in this shady of a situation. Matt Kuchar, we all know he's too cheap. That's not happening. Jordan Spieth, he can certainly use the relief the way his game has been going lately, but I don't think Jordan would do anything like that. The guy that I honestly think would most likely to do this, DJ. You see that look on his face. He's always calm, cool, and collected. Nothing really seems to bother him. He's had some drama with him and Paulina. There's been a lot of stories about his sexual prowess and some of the stuff that he's done off the course. So if I were to say one player that I wouldn't be surprised, I'm not saying that the DJ has anything to do with this or he's ever partaken in anything of this manner. I'm just saying if there was one player that it was most likely or that I would be least surprised by, Dustin Johnson. That's my pick. On to some actual golf, though. So we'll talk some actual golf. Thanks for bearing with me on that one. I do want to give a quick couple shout-outs. So two guys that I grew up golfing with in Burlington, Ontario at Hidden Lake Golf Course. Michael Gligic, he won on the Web.com Tour, his first professional win. So really good for Gligic. He was a few years older than me. But he was like the guy at the golf course that everyone always knew, like, this guy's going to be pro. This guy's amazing. One time I was playing, and the 17th tee on the old course at Hidden Lake is right by where you pull up the carts to put gas on the carts, wash them, whatever the case may be. So Gligic was working, he was like, he ran the, where the players keep their bags and stuff like that. I forget what we called it. But anyways, he was out there, came up, and he was just doing something. And then I was playing with a few buddies, so he said, "Hey guys, you mind if I just finish the play these last 2 holes with you?" Because we knew him. I'm not gonna say I was close with him or anything, but so my buddy and I think it was just 2 of us. We were both left-handed. So he said, "Yeah, sure, but we're both lefties." He says, "Oh, no problem." He uses our left-handed clubs. He's obviously right-handed. He used, I don't know if it was mine or my friend's club, whatever one, but he made par on one of the hardest holes, the 17th, the par 4 up the hill at Hidden Lake. He made par left-handed. Not really anything tied to this PGA Tour stuff, but, I mean, he's just a special talent. Just an amazing golfer, always a little bit fiery, but a great golfer. And then a guy that I grew up pretty good friends with all the golfers. One of my better buddies growing up, golf-wise, Blair Hamilton. He's played in a couple PGA Tour events, but he Monday qualified for the Waste Management a couple weeks ago in Phoenix. And, I mean, what an incredible event that would be to be in. That would be so cool. Posted a bunch of pictures and stuff from playing 16. Obviously, that's the crazy hole with the fans everywhere. I can't imagine what a cool experience that would be. So I'm going to have to talk to him about that at some point. But really, really cool. Happy for those two guys. And I don't know, it's just cool guys that you kind of grew up with. Like, there's a couple of guys I grew up playing hockey with, and now a couple of guys that I grew up playing golf with that are making it. And it's really cool. Always really cool to see that. It's good for those guys. The Matt Kuchar situation is finally over. I'm not going to go into it too much because, obviously, it's been talked about a lot. If you missed any details of it, I did make a full, I want to say 5 to 7 minute video going through every single step of the situation with Kuchar and his caddy, El Toucan. So if you want to see that, go to my YouTube page. But basically, it's over. Kuchar paid him. Looks awful. It's going to follow Kuchar around. One interesting tidbit that I do want to mention that came out of it that I didn't really see reported on that much that I found in my research was that El Toucan caddied for Alex Cheka the year before, and Cheka finished 9th place, but only paid Toucan $900. So, I mean, there's a bit more of a pattern of this guy getting taken advantage of. So, I don't really have too much more on that. If you want more on it, like I said, check out my YouTube video. But Kuchar was getting heckled a little bit the last 2 weeks, chance of mooch and stuff like that. So, he deserves it, and I'll just leave it at that. Bryson DeChambeau got himself in a little bit of hot water over the weekend. He was having some troubles putting, and as someone that's seen him in practice, he is the most meticulous. He is ridiculous with his practice. So there is a video of him, I think it was Sky Sports was just filming a panel. Rich Beam and a couple guys were just talking on the panel, and in the background you can see the putting green. And Bryson DeChambeau was working on something, got pissed off, slams his putter, kind of an embarrassing slam. You don't do that. It wasn't on the course. It was on the putting green, but nonetheless, not a look you want for a pro, not a look you want for anyone. We obviously got pissed at Sergio for doing worse than this, but similar. And so Bryson, not a good look, but he did release, I don't really know how they came together. I guess Bubba Watson's caddy said it was his idea. So the first voice you're going to hear is Ted Scott. That is Bubba Watson's caddy. And then Bubba Watson, and then Bryson DeChambeau. They made this little video. I'm just going to put this clip in here.
We're testing the firmness of the greens. How do you do that, Bubba?
I don't know. I've been off this week. Shot over par yesterday, so I'm trying. I can't get the bounce right. It's spinning sometimes. It's bouncing sometimes. Maybe we should ask somebody. What did you say it was? Science. Oh, I saw Bryson up here. Yes. Bryson. Question for you. The firmness of the greens. I haven't been able to get the bounce right yet. So I want to know, how are you detecting the firmness of the greens? How are you getting where you can guess how it's going to bounce or spin?
Dude, it's pretty simple. I mean, all you got to do is just kind of test your arm, see how straight you can get it.
Yep.
What you got to do is obviously contract the bicep, both heads.
Yep.
And then you got to extend it where you're contracting both triceps. And then you create a little deviation with it. And then just create a little dink in the ground and see how deep it goes. Obviously fixing and everything. It's not an issue at all. But seriously, we're just testing the depth of the hole.
So this video, I mean, as you can understand, some people like to get pissed off at anything. We couldn't really gather by the audio. He's basically joking that he was, testing the firmness of the green by, extending his arm, how deep the club goes in the ground. You're just testing the depth of the ground. Obviously a joke, lighthearted. Bubba and Bryson trying to make light of the situation a little bit, even though, I mean, it's not a good look for Bryson, but I thought the video was funny. I thought it was clever. I like that guys do silly little things like this. But like anything that has the smallest little glimmer of anything controversial, it gets shit on. So this video did get shit on, and those people that are doing the shitting, go wipe your ass. You're being a little baby. Like, come on. They're just joking around. Just chill. Another rules issue that came up. This one had a bit more legs to it, but so there's been a big thing on the PGA Tour and Web.com, men's golf, basically, backstopping. And for those who don't know what backstopping is, essentially, say you hit your approach or you hit a chip or a putt, and it's close to the hole. So you say to the playing partner that you're playing with, and say they're about to chip onto the green. You say to them, like, do you want me to mark my ball? And then they say no. So you leave your ball there close to the hole, kind of as like I guess the idea is if you happen to have a tough chip and maybe you don't have much green to work with, it's going to run way past the hole. Now you have not only the pin that could stop the ball, but you also have this other person's ball that's used as a backstop. So it was been an issue. There's been a couple cases of it on the PGA Tour that went, I wouldn't say viral, but in terms of golf, they went viral. And the LPGA had one this weekend where you see Arya Jutanagarn, the number one player in the world. She hits a chip up to like 2 feet. It's on the 18th hole at this weekend back in Thailand. She hits her ball up to like 2 feet or whatever. And then her playing partner, Amy Olsen, you see Arya turn to her and say, you want me to mark? Amy says no. Then Amy hits her ball. It's going racing. Like, this thing's going to go at least 20 feet past the pin. It smacks into Arya's ball and stops itself like 3 feet beside the pin. And then the camera pans to Amy Olsen. She laughs. She gives Arya a fist bump. And obviously Arya gets to move her ball back to where it was. And Amy gets to putt from there. So this, right away, a lot of people and a lot of like reputable golf journalists that I honestly like reading were really, really upset about this, the cheating aspect of it. My thing, though, like, you have to know the whole situation. On that same hole, their playing partner, Michelle Wee, was getting a ruling. So they had to wait for a person to come over, give her the ruling, go through that whole song and dance. So while that was going on, Arya and Amy decided we're just going to play because we've been waiting. We don't want to hold everyone up too much, and we're just going to play ready golf. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is that in order for you to believe that this was done on purpose, you'd have to think that Amy explicitly thought in her head, you know what, I know that I can't stop this close to the hole, so I can aim for the pin, but that's not likely, so I'm going to leave that ball there because it gives me a good chance, and I'm going to aim for that ball, and I'm going to hit that ball or the pin, and that's the only way I can keep this ball close. Their explanation is perfectly innocent. They, in my opinion, didn't do anything wrong. Yes, you could make the case that leaving it there gives you an unfair advantage, but you'd also have to believe that they were doing that on purpose to help out their competitor, someone they're playing against, friends or not, and also that, like, let's be real, if the odds of hitting the pin on that shot is 1 in 100, the odds of hitting the ball in that shot are maybe 1 in 100 too. Is that really that big of a difference that is worth penalizing? Some people that are, like, golf is the most honorable sport, blah, blah, blah. If that's your argument, sure. Again, go wipe your ass. But I disagree. Let the girls play. It's not a big deal. If they're explicitly saying, leave your ball there, I'm going to hit it, maybe that'd be one thing. But I don't think it's a big deal. And in fact, even if they were doing it on purpose, I wouldn't think it was a big deal because you're just using what you have as your advantage. But I digress. I'll let you guys decide about that what you want. We have a new rule on the PGA Tour. Rules are just running rampant this week. We have a new rule on the PGA Tour. PGA Tour players can now wear shorts during practice rounds. And I don't mention this because it's some sort of crazy, game-changing, world-changing thing. I just would like everyone that's listening to Google Phil Mickelson's calves. Because those puppies were unleashed when we got to see these guys practicing in shorts. And honestly, I don't really care about the guys practicing in shorts. It does make them look more professional when you see like the golfer in pants, and usually they're playing in a pro-am with a bunch of guys in shorts that look like bums. And it obviously if you're walking up to the hole, you can immediately tell apart who the pro is. I don't think this is going to change it that much. But the main thing is Phil Mickelson has been hiding some unbelievable calves under his pants to the point where they look like calf implants. They are sharp. And I don't mean sharp like they look sharp like good. Like they're literally sharp. You could cut yourself on these things. I don't think they look good. I think it looks like a little too much. Everybody is going gaga over them. I don't think they look good. I think it looks a little weird. But if this is the only good thing we get out of these players wearing shorts, that's good enough for me. I'm still waiting to see Tiger in a shot of Tiger in shorts. I don't think there's going to be anything crazy there. But hey, you never know. I'm open to it. Let's just see where this thing goes. All right? I mentioned Tiger briefly. Let's do some Tiger talk, okay? Tiger's my guy. I'm always going to mention Tiger. Last 2 weeks he played the Genesis and the WGC, finished 15th at the Genesis, 10th at the WGC. Some sort of mitigating circumstances for each one. The Genesis, okay? So right from the beginning, this thing was a wash. Like the rain, everything was delayed. Tiger had an all-time Tiger quote. So his Sunday morning round, which was finishing up his third round, his tee time was 6:45 a.m., which, yes, that's friggin' early. You would expect someone to maybe get to the course to try and start getting ready. Maybe they'd wake up around like 5, get to the course around 5:30, give themselves an hour and a bit, whatever. Tiger was asked what time he started getting his preparation ready, between 2 and 3. He was up between 2 and 3 a.m., finishes his 6:45 a.m. round. He was on fire Saturday night. Sunday afternoon, sort of ran out of gas, but I mean, he's in his 40s. He's got back issues. It's cold and wet. Stopping and starting. He's waking up this early. Not really a surprise. He still managed to finish 15th. Not a great finish, but not bad. And then this week, he finished 10th. But that was one of the worst putting performances I've seen from Tiger Woods. There was one time where it looked like he was about to snap his famous Scotty Cameron putter. Yeah, he doesn't like putting on POA. POA Anua is a type of grass, and he just does not like putting on it. And that's what was there in Mexico this week. So, I mean, take him what you will. He led the field in strokes gained approach. His approach shots were unbelievable all week. He just wasn't making any putts. He had the one awful 4-putt that sort of sealed his fate late on Saturday. And he did have a few good moments, though. Right from the very beginning of the tournament, I mean, he did double bogey his first hole, but this was what Tiger walked up to on the first tee.
Campeón del PGA Championship, sí, de los Estados Unidos y por primera vez compitiendo en México, Tiger Woods!
The look on Tiger's face was priceless.
That's pretty great. Tiger proceeded to hook his opening tee shot out of bounds and have a double bogey, as I mentioned. But after that intro, I guess that would take you out of your focus. So another all-time moment, though, Tiger pulled off. I don't know if the audio will do it justice, but you've probably seen it. If you haven't, I need to play the audio just because the announcer's reaction is pretty good. But Tiger hit, I would say it's his third best bunker shot of all time. Number 1, the Canadian Open. Number 2 is the PGA. This goes as number 3.
Look at that finish. This is Tiger the artist. Wow, what a shot. Just ricochets back toward the hole.
Yeah, that was pretty good. The finish is unbelievable, like an Arnold Palmer-like finish. I posted a picture on Twitter today on Instagram, of someone photoshopped the PGA Tour logo to have that Tiger finish. Just an unbelievable shot. He didn't make the putt, unfortunately, which it always sucks when you don't make the putt, but still, just an unbelievable shot. Tiger seems to be trending in the right direction. He's moving along a little better than last year at this point, and everything's trending in the right direction for the Masters. He's not playing this week at the Honda Classic near his hometown. He always plays this event, but he's not playing this week. That is because of the schedule the way it is. He's playing the Arnold Palmer Invitational. That's a mouthful. The Arnold Palmer. Jesus. Let me try this one more time. I haven't been drinking, I swear. Arnold Palmer Invitational. Nailed it. The Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. Tiger's playing that next week. He's won that 8 times in his career. And then he has the Players' Championship coming up after that. He hasn't fared very well there, but obviously that's a big event. So he's shaping up. He's not going to push himself too hard in terms of the conditioning and stuff this year. And when I say conditioning, I don't mean, again, the gym. I mean, he played too many events in too short of a span last year and wore himself out. So he's not going to do that this year, and I'm happy about that. As for the rest of the PGA Tour, Last 3 winners were Phil. He won at Pebble. And then JB knocked off JT last week at the Genesis. And then DJ, of course, running away with the event this weekend in Mexico. Bit of a frustration for me here is that I do these, another plug coming up, teeingoffblog.com. Check it out. I spend hours on this spreadsheet every week to figure out who is going to win each event. And I've nailed a few. The spreadsheet's looking great every week. I've got at least one of my top 5 is in contention every single weekend. But the last 2 weeks, I've had a second place finish. And that's like, oh, good. That's good. That's good. No, it's very frustrating to have a second place finish. Yesterday wasn't as bad because Rory McIlroy, he never really had a shot to catch DJ. So, all right. But the week before, I had Justin Thomas. And let me tell you, not only do I hate JB Holmes, JT, he really irked me that day. He has such a unbelievable swing and it's such a great golf game. When he has like a 5-stroke lead, you think there's no chance that he's going to lose. Then you got JB Holmes, the slowest golfer in the world. I kind of like him just because he's like quirky. I think it would be fun to play a casual round of golf with JB Holmes because he mashes the ball. He's kind of a southern, like dumb-looking guy. But he is so slow, and having to wait an hour for him to hit each of those putts, and then JT choking, that may have taken a few years off my life. But still, it's been, I think, 8 events this year. Had 2 winners, 3 seconds. So, I mean, it's encouraging. And we've had many, many, many top 10s. It's encouraging. But when you have money on the line and you think it's a winner, it doesn't come through, especially in the way JT did it, very frustrating. Very frustrating. But we've all been there. Anyone that's placed a bet has had their heart ripped out when it's lost. So I won't go on about that too much, but I just want you guys to know my pain. That's where I am right now. So check out that. I usually post those Wednesday. I post a video on my YouTube channel as well, just kind of breaking it down. But the best info is in the blog that I post on the Wednesdays. Full breakdown of winner, who I think is going to win, who I think is going to play well, who I don't think is going to play well, course details, tee times, all of that good stuff. So make sure to check that out. This week's the Honda Classic. Really great course that they play, the Bear Trap. It's one of Jack Nicklaus's courses. Probably the toughest, if not the toughest, top 3 toughest finishing stretches on the PGA Tour. Amazing field. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a bit of a drop-off because of the scheduling, but traditionally it's been a great field, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty good field again this year. Always exciting to watch just because that great finish is so hard. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to check out my blog and videos and all of that good stuff. And follow me on Instagram, teeingoffblog. I'm RJ McCullough. Thank you for listening. As I said, I'll be in Florida next week, but I'll do something. I don't know. It'll be a podcast or a video or something, but I'll have something out there, and so keep a lookout for that. And give me a shout on Twitter at RJ McCullough or wherever any of my stuff is. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next week.